Okay, so it's time for your live event. And how are you going to use Twitter? Hi, I'm Sheryl Loch with Ginger Roots Media, and I've got...
Hey guys, Lany Sullivan with Events by Lany. So, we're still on Twitter, and we're talking about what happens during your event. So the last video we talked about what you do for your pre-event promotion, gathering all your stuff, all your shit, doing it right, hashtags, blah, 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 right? Okay, so go watch the video because I'm not going to repeat it.
No.
But go watch that video. But now we're in the events. So what are the key things that we need to do for Twitter while we're active during the event?
Okay, during your event, as people are getting ready to come to your event, so this is going to start a few days before your event. It's very likely you're going to have people that are in mid-travel that are possibly wondering what to pack, or they've got some questions about transportation. Depending on your event, there could be a whole host of questions coming in those few days as people are getting to your event, and then during the actual event. So you want to make sure everyone has learned to use your what?
Hashtag.
Exactly.
Hashtag.
Twitter is one of the easiest places for people to get to on mobile. So that's why a lot of your troubleshooting will be done through Twitter during the event, because Facebook is sometimes hard to get to. Posting in a Facebook group from mobile can be a glitch. Posting on Twitter with a quick little message, boom, it's out. Because these people aren't going to be emailing you. They aren't going to be going into your chat. You don't want them in a freaking chat because it gets lost too easy.
Yeah.
So Twitter is going to be a real main hub for a lot of that. So if they're flying in and having problems, your social media manager needs to have everything ready to troubleshoot and the information these people may need.
Yep.
Now, if you've set it up properly, you've already got your agenda way ahead of time, and you've gotten that to your social media manager. So one of the things that is really fun to do, I say fun, okay, maybe not fun. Is
fun
not
for her, not for the rest of us.
If Lainey's planning your event, which she should be, then she has sent me that agenda, complete agenda, pretty much in exacts, unless something gets glitchy during the event.
Something always happens.
And we know that can happen. But for the most part, way ahead of time, she has sent me the complete agenda. This is going to include who your speakers are, what time they hit the stage, what rooms they're in, and especially if you've got different sessions going on in different areas, it can get messy. And if your social media manager doesn't have that way ahead of time, what I'm about to tell you to do won't work, and they're going to be a nutcase, and they are going to use cuss words. So if you've got that agenda way ahead of time, then what you're going to do is you're going to have pre-made tweets already scheduled. So the social media manager knows that at 11 o'clock, this speaker is starting to hold their session in this room. So they've got a tweet that goes out 10, 15 minutes ahead of time saying, hey, so-and-so is going to come up. That is for the complete agenda set up, anywhere from, depending on your break times and all, anywhere from half an hour, 10 minutes ahead of a session with all the information. So when your attendees are looking and they see that tweet saying, oh, I forgot so-and-so's session, where was it? They're going to be able to see it go through as a reminder.
Yep.
To me, that's fun.
She loves doing that stuff. You know, one of the great things about Twitter when you're in the event, a couple of things actually, is so if your event is large enough and you have event tech happening, so which means you have an event application on your phone and you're using Eventbrite or Visible or some other event application, you can correlate and integrate your social media applications into your event application. I'm losing my words today. But you can integrate that all of it. So it's all together so they can, and it's great how the technology is working these days. So it's the fact that it's all integrated, they can make a tweet out, they can connect people really easily. So it's really awesome to have that integrated in if your event is larger. If you're smaller, then make sure that you are doing exactly what Cheryl is saying, because it does make it really easy. Um, if you have a paper agenda, people lose it. I mean, they just straight
And they
out
don't
lose
want to
it.
go to your website.
And they don't want to go find it in their email. They don't want to go find it in Facebook, so having it on Twitter is really great. The other side is when you're in the event and people are tweeting out, they're using the hashtag because you've trained them from the beginning to use the hashtag, and then your team that's running social media can retweet all the things that are happening in the event, and they can engage actively
And
with your attendees.
that's one of the things is if you watch a lot of the big events, if you
Mm-hmm.
follow them on Twitter,
Yeah.
you're going to have a speaker on stage and they're going to say something. And all of a sudden you
Mm-hmm.
see it break loose on Twitter where
Yeah.
one little sentence or one little idea or thought just goes crazy through
Mm-hmm.
that hashtag because people are tweeting. It's short, it's sweet, it's easy, it's quick. They don't have to design a whole bunch of stuff or take the time to make a full post.
Yep.
They can write that one sentence, put in that hashtag, and it goes.
Yep.
And then if people want to use, I know this is in the event and a little different, but like your social walls and your Twitter walls, where
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to show up in
Yeah.
different areas throughout your event. So people are like,
They want to get seen.
whoa,
People want to get seen. And so Twitter
oh
walls
yeah,
and social walls are huge for an event. So if you're going to do, 100 people or more, a 50-person retreat really isn't a big
probably isn't
deal.
worth it. But
But if you're doing a 100 person conference, 150, 500 people, to your conference. I went
10,000.
I went to an event a couple of years ago in Atlanta, which was I had a great time, and it was a tech event, so they had their tech on point, and I love it when tech is on point, and they had it was great. Like, one of the sponsors, Insightful, they had preset all of their tweets, and they had funny responses. So if you tweeted about Insightful or about the event, then they had canned responses that didn't sound canned. They sound like a human, snarky, hilarious, funny as hell, responding to you, and then you engage back with them, and it was a back and forth, and they did it beautifully. But they also had a social media wall. So they did have, this event had Facebook posts going up. They had Twitter posts going up. I don't think they integrated Instagram on that one, but mostly it's Twitter a lot of the times. But
Mm-hmm.
the social media walls, as tech has improved over the years, the social media walls are now social media walls and not Twitter walls. So they are integrating Facebook and they are integrating Instagram.
I
But
like the ones that integrate Twitter
but
and and YouTube.
but you know what they're doing?
Of course, YouTube
You
isn't
can't
really
integrate YouTube.
isn't really involved so much at this point in your event, but
But you know how they're integrating it. What are they using? Our favorite thing. Hashtags.
you
That's what
think
they're, yeah,
a
you think?
hashtag? That's a great idea.
What a concept. So this is why hashtags are important. So, if you look at Twitter, if you go through and watch any of your favorite events that you've gone, or any big events, MozCon, Marketing Profs, they all have their hashtags. They're all trending. Every time they do an event, they trend. They heavily trend. And they take over Twitter. And it might drive you crazy as somebody who's not there. But if you pay attention to the big events and what they're doing in these big conferences, you can scale what they're doing to your event, no matter
Oh,
how large or how small
absolutely.
your event is.
And the thing is, if you have around in your venue reminders of the hashtags,
Mm-hmm.
reminders of your usernames, encouraging people to tweet.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's all part of the experience. And so your social media person has got to be on there constantly watching Twitter. I mean, they're going to watch all the platforms, but Twitter can be a very busy
Mm-hmm.
hot spot.
Yep.
And you want to be ready for it.
Yep. And
Now,
your social media manager should really, when they're monitoring it, should just be monitoring the hashtag for the most part on Twitter.
hashtags and mentions.
Yeah. Yep.
And it can be depending on where your event is and where
Mm-hmm.
your attendees are coming from. Right before the event, it can be a 24/7 for your social media manager on these platforms simply
Mm-hmm.
because if you're in London and your attendees are coming from the US and Canada, then they are up and
Yeah.
making their arrangements and asking their questions at a totally different time than what the event's on. So it can
Yeah.
be quite busy. And during this period of time, your social media manager is most likely going to give you a price for just this week that is much higher than it was for maybe some other weeks when you break it down over time, simply because they are on and it is a constant. Even when everyone gets to that event, it is a constant. They don't get to preset a lot of things because they are crowdsourcing and they are troubleshooting. And if you have a live streaming where you've sold tickets for people that can't attend physically and they're watching behind a paywall, a lot of times what you want to do there is have the site where you're hosting that set it up so that they will tweet out if they have issues. So if that live stream goes down, we want to encourage them to go to Twitter because that's the easiest place to answer them. Otherwise, your Facebook page or group can be filled with 100 people saying the same damn thing. I'd rather have that on Twitter. So there's another thing you need to make sure your social media person has, like we talked about when building your team, your digital marketing team. They need complete access to your videographer that is running your live stream. So if there's an issue, your social media manager, can either maybe fix the problem for someone. Maybe they just need to refresh or fix their cookies in their cache, use a different browser. There are certain things that are easy. Other things, they need to be able to send a message to that live streaming site and say, hey, I've got everybody down. What's going on? Are you aware, and how are we going to fix it? And so it's all a bunch of communication. But the thing is, you need to be interacting constantly on Twitter during your live event, encouraging it.
And it's not going to be you. You don't have time. I don't have time as your event planner. So it's your social media team. And you need to make sure that they have full access and availability to be you.
So when Lainey's at an event somewhere else, I'm sitting in my little house in Las Vegas
with her 4 monitors monitoring everything.
And sometimes I just send out messages as Lany because they think she's really involved in, and little do they know that she doesn't even know she's sending them out.
Sheryl has learned my brand voice very well.
It was easy. Snark. I mean, nice. So Twitter during your event is very important.
Yes.
Troubleshooting, customer service, and fun for the experience. So what do people need to do so they can get all this downloaded in a list?
Go to eventsbylany.com/knowledgebase, get on our list, and get access to all of our free bonus material.
And be sure to subscribe to Ginger Roots Media on YouTube so you don't miss any of our other videos, because we've got a lot coming up.
Don't miss us.